Hello everybody, this is Matt from SolidWorksLessons.info. This is going to be the first and hopefully a series of video tutorials. So please leave some comments, let us know if you like this kind of tutorial, if you prefer the good old-fashioned kind you can print out. So we need some feedback to let us know what works and what doesn't work, so we don't waste our time and yours. Today we are going to start drawing a Predator drone. If you don't know what a Predator drone is, it's basically an unmanned aircraft. And this one I happened to come across some blueprints online. There was a Predator drone on 3D Content Central, and it seemed like a good enough tutorial. We're not going to get real in depth with the features. It's just going to be some basic surfacing and some background information on how to approach this. If you've been to the website, you've obviously seen that there is a file there you can download, and what that file is, it's going to be called PD Blueprints. And if you open that up, you'll notice that you have 3 blueprints already laid out for you. If you actually dig into these a little bit, you'll notice that they have dimensions on them, which is how this thing is actually scaled. And you might notice that I've added several construction lines that maybe you're looking at this and they don't really make sense. So hopefully this first video will kind of clarify the thought process here, and maybe get you guys started on modeling this thing. Alright, so first let's go ahead and just look at this this sketch here. And actually I made a little mistake there. Let's look at the blueprint sketch. Alright, so I've got some construction lines added here, and there's some various dimensions. And my thought process here is I'm going to create a series of work planes, and to do that I wanted to have some reference lines attached to these initial blueprints. So right here we have a vertical line, and it doesn't look very good. If you look here, it's actually it lines up pretty well with the changing curvature for that front section. The second line here does the same thing. The main part of the body is straight, and then it starts to curve up here. This horizontal line serves 2 purposes. It comes to the back of the craft here where we're going to add a work plane, and it also splits it down the middle. Now if you look at pictures of these things, you'll notice that they have different curvature at this midline here, so we really want to break this thing up and model it in sections instead of trying to approach it as one piece. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is create these work planes. Now one thing I'm going to try to be good about is actually clicking on these buttons, but I use quick keys a lot, which is the S key if you don't know. I also use hotkeys. So for instance, if I click on this sketch and I use Control 8, it's going to take me normal to that view. And I really recommend you guys checking these out. Like for the hotkeys for different views, if you just hover over there, it shows you Control plus the number 1 gets you to a front view. So it's really just it's personal preference for me, but I highly recommend you guys do that. And set up your quick menus. If you're using 2010 or newer, you have the mouse gestures, and that's with the right click. You just hold down the right mouse button and drag it to what you want to see. And these menus change if you're in a sketch or if you're in an assembly. You're going to get different options, and that's also the same with the quick menus. The S key. When you start this out, there aren't very many things here, and I really haven't set this up on this computer, but all you need to do is you right click and you go to customize, and you can come in here and you can add whatever you want. Say we want to do the split command, we'll drag it over here and just drop it. And now anytime I use my quick menus, well of course I canceled it, anytime you use your quick menus, you're going to see those there. Now we can't really use the split command yet because we don't have any solid or surface bodies in the model, so it's grayed out, but just know that that option is available to you, and it'll really speed up the modeling process. Your right click menu also has recent commands, things that you've used. Magnifying glass comes in handy. That's the G key on the keyboard. But just just some general things that will help you in your modeling process. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to select this line and then shift select the endpoint, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new plane off of that. You could also select the front plane and the endpoint. Really, there's a number of ways you can go about this. I usually like to select the geometry first and then start the plane creation. And you can see we've got the line and the point as our references. So I'm going to OK that, and the first thing I'm going to do is rename this. What you call it really doesn't matter as long as you understand what it is. If you're working in a situation where you have to collaborate with other users, you might want to discuss back and forth and come up with some sort of standard naming convention. But if you're the only person that's going to see this model, and just name it something that you'll know, and please don't leave it as plane 1, plane 2, plane 3, because once you get 6 or 7 planes and you need to go back, you're not going to know which plane is which, and it'll really just save you a little bit of headache. For the second plane, I'm going to go ahead and select that vertex, and I'm going to use Control Select and grab that front plane and do the same thing again. So what this did, instead of selecting the line and the endpoint as our location and normal reference, I selected the front plane and that point. And what that does is it takes our front plane, makes a new plane that's offset at that location. I'm going to do the same thing for this line here. And before I go any farther, let's rename these. Let's call this one mid-plane. And I know these names are kind of bad, but mid-front plane. And the next one, we're going to use this horizontal reference here. I'm going to select that point and Control Select the top plane. And that will create this plane, which I am going to call the top mid-plane. Like I said, name these something that you'll understand. The reason I called that the top mid-plane is because whenever we're going to sketch on that, it's going to be a top-down view, and that is the middle of the body. So that's pretty much it. When you get to this point, I know we haven't really done anything yet, but it's a good idea to save frequently. If you want to turn autosave on, sometimes autosave can be kind of annoying. But it's definitely a handy feature to have, and you really don't want to be modeling for hours, forget to save, and then lose everything you've done. Alright, so to get started, I am going to start a sketch on the right plane. I'm going to use Control 8, look normal to that view. And what I want to do is, just out here in space, I'm going to draw a line. And what I want to do is, I'm going to make this line horizontal. And you're probably wondering, why didn't I just draw a line and use the auto relations? You can see the bottom right of my mouse cursor, there's the little icon for relations. We got a vertical and a horizontal there. If these ever bother you, you can hold down the Control key and it'll temporarily turn those off so it doesn't snap. But the reason I didn't do that is because I wanted to show you, you select the line and the available relations will pop up here in this little quick menu as soon as you finish your selection. If you're doing a shift select, as soon as you let go of the shift key, this menu will pop up. But you select that and you get your available relations over here. Now we've already applied a horizontal relation. If I try to do a vertical, it's going to flip out. But just understand that the properties and also the little quick menu that pops up are ways for you to add relations without coming up here, clicking the add relation, selecting your entity, and then seeing what available relations you have. I'm going to select the endpoint and shift select that midplane and add a coincident relation. And what this does is it pulls that point over to that plane. I'm going to do the same thing the back and the tail plane. Alright, so now that line can only be moved up and down. we have it tied. You can see here the relations. We have it tied